Hey everyone, with the new Evil Genius game coming out, I thought this was a perfect time to kind of run through the original. I don't typically do any kind of commentary on the games that I run, but in this case, a real-time strategy game is probably really boring to watch, especially with all the downtime in the beginning. This is going to be a bit of a journey, so I hope you stick with it. I haven't played this game in a while, so you're bound to see a lot of mistakes, but just try to enjoy the ride. So I'm just going to play the campaign on medium. Like a normal setting to me. And as far as geniuses go, doesn't matter a whole lot. Your starter henchman will vary based on who you pick. Maximilian to me is just really entertaining, so generally going to go that route, and that's what we'll for this playthrough. Alright, so the first thing we gotta do, start carving out this mountain.
Check objective screen for new goals.
Generally, when I start building, I like to kind of figure out a bigger portion of my base all in one go. I have to end up building a ton of rooms later on, so it kind of helps to get started with something that's a little bit bigger or more of a skeleton, if you will.
Room construction unpaused. Object has been ordered.
One of the first things you should do in this game, too, is right away, you have capacity that's free to use, so you want to bump that up. Much like every other RTS game, the faster you can scale up your workers in the beginning, kind of the stronger your economy gets, and really just how quickly you can build things in this game. One of the most important rooms that you need to build is the control room. You just need to make it big enough to fit about 6 control panels in it. That's all you really need to see everything in the world domination screen, but I'll get to that a little bit more later. That worked out really well. I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and plan out kind of my entire game up front or build a perfect layout, so you'll be seeing kind of a lot of adjustments as I go through.
Object purchase delayed.
Normally, I'd be building out all the required kind of pieces or all the required objects in a room at a time, but since you can't really prioritize certain buildings in this game, what ends up happening is if I load this room up with control panels, that's all my workers are going to focus on, and it kind of slows down the rest of the room. Most important room in the early game, maybe in the entire game, is going to be the barracks. This is where you're going to be building everything you need to house your minions and increase capacity through lockers.
Room construction unpaused. New room build order confirmed.
What we'll want to do is,
Object has been ordered.
it's going to look kind of gross, but all you got to be doing is filling this room up with lockers, wall to wall, everywhere you can. Again, more lockers equals more capacity.
Order confirmed. Object has been ordered. Object purchase order confirmed. Object has been ordered.
Beds are important too. Your minions will eventually start to get kind of tired. It will start getting tired. Place to crash. Want to make sure you've got a couple of beds there. You definitely don't need to match the number of beds to lockers since they all kind of rotate a little bit differently. But that's complete preference. On the objective screen here, we just kind of see some of the basic things we got to run through really quick. Obviously, this is going to be kind of a slow start to the game, but we'll get through it.
Room construction unpaused.
As we kind of wait for those two buildings to get built, we're going to kind of continue to extend this hallway a little bit. Again, just kind of laying the groundwork for stuff that we need to do down the road. It just helps us kind of stay ahead of things and kind of progress through the game.
Room construction underway.
Right now we got about 5 minions, and there's only about 4 things on the map that can currently be built. Gonna do a little bit of a construction time warp for you guys, just so we can keep the game moving along. Alright, so we do have the control room built. A couple other items that we can be adding to this that I'll add a little bit later. Control panels, memory banks, time clocks, things like that. Got to make sure it's staffed. You've got to make sure you've got a time clock that's going to keep people in there. And you have to have memory banks. So that way, if there's like a shift change or you've got guys called in to fight and you can't staff it, this will at least make sure that you're holding information until you can get those guys back in their seats. This is useless to have 2 guys in here right now, but clearly I don't have enough work for them. Brings us to the strong room.
Construction unpaused.
Alright, so the strong room, essentially what we need to replace in the top shack, or from the top shack right here. I'm going to move this into the base. I don't really have a good rule of thumb for sizing here. End up just storing a lot of different stuff in there. So we'll just go with this. I'm sure I'll need to fix it later, but we'll cross that bridge.
Room construction underway. This object will be purchased when a minion is available for duty.
Also throw a couple doors in here. Again, this all just slows down anyone trying to investigate.
Like the wind, Gojira.
Excellent. Now we've got the barracks built, we're going to start getting an entire row of lockers, and that's going to help us really scale up minion faster.
At once, Sensei. I live like the wind.
I'll take care of these guys in a second. I just want them around the corner.
I live to serve.
Intruder tagged for termination.
Tag system's pretty straightforward. Playing this game, got the ignore, kill, capture, and
New rooms are
weekend
available for
we'll talk about it a little bit later. But right now, we just need to get rid of these guys.
available for purchase. Kill tag issued.
So now that we've built these investigators, we've opened up a cold storage to.
This object will be purchased when a minion is available for duty.
Again, should have should have built more corridors while we were waiting,
New room build
because
order
here now that
confirmed.
we gotta wait a little bit to get to that room.
Room construction unpaused.
You may have noticed that all people have 5 statistics. Important information will be relayed to you via the message bar and stored.
Alright, so we've got a couple lockers being built. See that quickly ramped up capacity, so we'll go ahead. Our worker load. Some are going to argue, so this slider right here, the more money, or the more that you move it to the right, the more money you spend, but it allows you to recruit significantly faster. Some are going to argue it's a waste of money. I think in the early game it's super helpful. Again, minions, faster start to the game. Actually, you know what? Let's bump that up to 1,000. I'm going to regret that for sure, but for now. Just going to let these guys hustle so we can get this room built out. Alright, so now we should have a few more. Again, single chance you get, make sure you're taking advantage of the new capacity.
Object purchase order confirmed. Object has been ordered. Object purchase order confirmed.
Yeah, it looks super ugly to have just a wall of lockers or an entire full of lockers, but that's just kind of the role of this room. Alright, now that the strong room is built, I'm going to solve this. The existing briefcase, save you some bucks. And let's drop it in here. Doesn't matter where. Once this gets, once this briefcase rack gets put into the new strong room, it'll transfer all the, well, then it'll allow me to destroy this one, which will then shift all the money into here. That way we don't have anything to worry about that's just kind of laying out in the open here. Eventually, the top shacks become super useful for a couple missions, but that's going to be a bit till we get there.
What's this? I need to be here.
Again, always just keep an eye on capacity. One thing I'm not sure of is why this particular building versus the other one kind of dictates where the supplies come from, but unfortunately, just no idea. Alright, let's demo this.
New objectives available. Room demolition imminent.
You now have access to the World Domination screen. From here, you will be able to commit acts of infamy all around the globe to increase your notoriety and steal valuable loot from under the noses of the forces of justice. Right now, though, the most important information to note is that the world map is your primary means of obtaining additional funds. You can send minions to any region in the world, where they will automatically steal money as long as the stealing option is selected for the region. Once in a region, your minions will send back their ill-gotten gains at regular intervals. It will be collected from a depot and taken to your strong room. Each region has a cash rating. The higher this is, the more cash your minions will steal. You can uncover the cash rating by having the required number of control panels active for the region. Having more minions stealing in a region will increase the amount of money stolen. Also, some minion types are better at stealing than others, so choose your forces wisely. Sending minions to a region is a simple process. Just select the region.
Figured I'd let that play, just because it'll do a much better job than I would have tried to explain.
New room blueprints now available. Depot now stocks new objects.
Right now, since we've got a good amount of minions, I'm going to send a few out just to plotting. Plotting plotting is what uncovers all the active infamy, which are all the kind of objectives down the road for the game. So I'm going to send just a few guys out to do nothing but kind of explore. We won't be able to unlock everything right away. The notoriety slider right down here kind of indicates how feared you are as an evil genius. The higher it goes, the more things that unlock. Can start plotting early on, even if it doesn't reveal them. It sort of does kind of check the box to say, hey, there's something here, but you just can't see it yet. Hit certain thresholds, then they automatically reveal themselves. So it's good practice early game to just run through that with a few workers early on. It's just good to get that out of the way at the beginning. Plus, we have the workers to spare right now. You'll see that even without building, well, I've also built some more lockers, but as your notoriety increases as well, you will get more of a minion capacity. You'll also notice here that all my gold is transferred. I have no idea why it's all the way across the room. It doesn't matter to me, but I don't have to worry about this top shack anymore. All right, so now I need to build the armory. This is kind of, we'll go ahead and build this a little closer to the front. Let's map something else out first. That'll be good. So there's one more room here that I got to build for my evil genius. I want to make sure that I've got enough space to work with, and that looks pretty. Go ahead and start our armory here. There we go. It's a weird shape, yeah, but I wanted to build room for these holding cells right away. Definitely want a door here, especially since it's kind of closer to the front of the base. That'll be fine.
Room construction unpaused.
Alright, so this room was paused, unfortunately. lockers.
Object purchase order confirmed. Object has been ordered.
So these are acts of infamy. Various things that you can kind of uncover. In this case, this is library blueprint. The library is it's a useful item later on, but don't need it right at this time. You'll see here too that there's a lot of question marks. It just shows that we don't have enough staff for the control panels. Actually, we'll go ahead and add some more.
Object purchase order confirmed. Object has been ordered. Object move order confirmed.
One of the drawbacks to not necessarily planning out my space perfectly is I'm gonna have to keep moving stuff around and probably expanding the control room a bit more. I'm gonna send out a few more because what I'm gonna do as soon as I decide that I don't want to plot anymore is start stealing, and that'll start our revenue streams. I'm going to construct more hallways here. Should be good. There's another room that I'm planning to build up here. It's usually going to be about that size. That'll be plenty.
New room build order confirmed. Room construction unpaused. Warning, placing this object here renders another object inaccessible. Object purchase order confirmed. Object has been ordered.
I need to be. Yeah. Yes.
New rooms are available for construction. New objects are available for purchase.
Alright, so I'm actually going to... we're probably going to be... This is the step to unlocking it in the first place.
Room construction
Not a big
underway.
oops moment.
Object purchase order confirmed.
One generator and then a capacitor, which I don't really need them
Object has been
good
ordered.
enough if you're good about your powers, but doesn't have one.
Room
Again,
construction
just as a
unpaused.
backup. If you go over power, or there's some issues with power, this will try to bridge a little bit of time gap. Granted, this is definitely going to put us over from a power perspective, but
Backup power drained.
yep.
All power consuming objects offline.
That'll be a little frustrating. That's fine. We'll move fast on this room. Alright, so this is our first specialized minion. Well, not her, but we'll see. It's also is kind of the final objective for this first evil intention. Great. We can move all these body bags out of the way. Alright, so the process for all these different branches of minions or these specializations, you just need to capture somebody that represents each one of these tiers, interrogate them, which we're going to be doing now, and in this case it's a maid, which will become the valet. Alright, now we get to build the interrogation chair, which kind of perfectly encapsulates everything in this game. You'll see.
Some characters, like the maid, you
Well, this is taking a while, but I do appreciate this guy's hustle. One of the issues that you encounter, or one of the many issues that you encounter with low power, is it kind of puts things on hold. You've got a lot of guys here that just aren't really doing anything because their rooms are not operating. Additionally, all these doors that you have powered, all of a sudden they're useless. So really bad to run out of power if you're in situations where you're being attacked. Alright, so because we got a lot of downtime with these guys, I'm gonna go send them back on the map so they can start making us a little bit more money. So, one more round. We are running a little tight on cash. Guys should have everything. Okay, now we got the generator built. I don't know why this guy's just chilling. We've got power. That we're gonna do 2 more things. Actually, I'm gonna leave one guy plotting here. You guys here. I know this region actually has a lot more income. That's what I want to focus on. So we'll make sure we've got guys there. Alright, interrogation time. So we will send them to the chair.
Prisoner interrogation order confirmed. Awaiting interrogation device selection.
And these guys are starting to staff back up. There we go. So now you can see 9. You can also see that just through plotting, uncovered 1 more mission here. That territory. There are plenty more that are being uncovered. We just can't see them yet. And now for one of the weirder parts of the game, the interrogation.
New room blueprints now available.
And this is how somebody gets interrogated.
Yep.
Okay.
Depot now stocks new objects. New rooms are available for construction.
So that unlocks our next pool of rooms. This is why I built this long hallway. So here's where we're going to get started on our staff room.
As well as being a cash
This is where we'll be able to upgrade our workers into more specialized minions, like the Valet.
New room build order confirmed. Room construction unpaused. Object has been ordered.
When we look at the minion management page, you'll see that each specialization sort of cascades down into more advanced levels. So with that, it's important to have enough of those early training objects, just so we're able to kind of scale up quickly if something bad happens further down the road. You'll see here at the far end, it forks, so it's just even that much more important to make sure you have a good early pool to draw from right at the start of the branch. Again, just all kinds of things being uncovered just by having people in here as well. We are going to look at getting kind of this next group of minions, in this case guards. They're very, very important. So we might actually just do that right now. I know we don't have enough minions in the control panels right now to tell us the risk and the timing, but for these low-level missions, oh, there we go. No risk. Don't have to worry about getting wrecked. 2 minutes, we'll have captured a guard, which will allow us to unlock the military branch. And it will be the same process. Bring them in, interrogate them, create new minion. The inner sanctum is the other room that I was kind of building a little, or carving out a little blueprint here. I never have a good place where I want these, so I always end up just kind of branching it off of the storeroom or the control room, just because it kind of, to me, that makes sense. I'm going to move this up because I feel like this is just going to cause problems. There's a lot of pathing and object intersection issues in this game that just kind of become really annoying. Eventually you kind of get an eye for the things that, you know, might cause obstructions later. So you can see here that it's kind of already anticipating us getting guards. You'll notice that the income's much lower in this territory. Again, this kind of ties back directly to the risk versus reward system of some of these different territories. Excellent. Took care of the guard. Now we can get out of this region because it's just not as profitable. Minions back to North America, have them stealing. I'll burn and come back up.
Away by the evil organizations for an unknown purpose. In an off-the-record comment, one SMASH official said that the chances of rescuing the hostages were slim to none.
Once we have the guard, we're going to train a bunch of them and then send them back out into the world map. And if you kind of look at the stats here, and we mentioned this a bit earlier, workers just aren't that great at anything. And here's our guard. Actually, we're going to put a pause on that. Just because I want to make sure all that training stuff's prioritized.
Room construction on hold.
Head of the Underworld is the next set of missions. It requires us to do a lot of plotting to ultimately capture a lot of crime lords and bring them to our island. You also occasionally want to be checking your world map, just because occasionally if you're not paying attention, some of the super spies will show up and they will completely wreck anything you're doing in the field. It's always good to just kind of keep an eye on it. It's good practice. I miss it a lot, or I miss catching it a lot, but it's just something to be thinking about constantly. We're going through the same interrogation process as we did with the maid, and that will give us our guard. Once we're all set with that first guard, I think that'll be a good point to call it, and we'll wrap for the day.
Select an interrogation device to proceed. Caution, cannot accommodate this many minions.
It doesn't matter if this is the first or the 50th time you're watching an interrogation, it just doesn't get old. And Michael Jackson apparently is one of the best interrogation techniques in the world. Take notes. Alright, so our control room's full, and we've got money bouncing around. Obviously, it's red. We know things are getting bought, but we're in a bit of a deficit, but we'll get that taken care of. There's our guard. Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap it up right now. Might end up doing a few things before the next episode comes out, but that's just to make sure that we've got a decent income stream, just so we can keep things moving. Thanks for watching, see you next time.